is Jason Alon Butler.
This is Aric from Coda.
We're Fever 333, and you're watching Linea Rock.
Welcome Fever 333, welcome to Milano, welcome to Linea Rock.
Hell yeah.
Good to have you finally in Milano and to have the chance to interview you. So let's start from the genre, which is, you know, you've been defined hip-hop, punk, rap, trap metal, also thrash metal, but I think that your music escapes a precise definition in your explosive mix. Which was the musical plan for you guys when you very first started a band, when you formed a band? Which was your idea?
The idea was to create like a sonic environment or a emotional environment where people felt comfortable to express themselves. That was like really the foundation of, as far as when we were like, what are we going to do musically? Anytime we address genre, we usually only address it so that we can evade it, like get away from it. We don't really care to be assigned to any one genre. And I know that it sounds like I say this all the time. I'm not trying to sound like esoteric or you can't label us, but you know, we don't have any desire to be underneath any one banner of music because we love so much music. Between all the five of us, actually, it's the three, you know, myself, Aric, Steven, but also John Feldman and Travis Barker, who are part of this whole team and collective. So we just want to tastefully honor the things that we love musically, as well as, again, like different ideologies and movements that we've, you know, invested ourselves in and subscribed to over the years. So that was really the idea when we started the project.
And you all have past experiences with other bands. What have you brought into this new band, and what is to forget and not to repeat from past experiences?
A lot. A lot. We actually just had that conversation like last night.
Really?
Yeah, we talk about it often, man. You know, so I was in a band before that really taught me so much, so much, and I'm grateful for all of the good and the bad. Truly, I really am. And there are times that I look back at my past and go, that really worked out really well. That sort of helped shape me as a performer and as an artist and as an individual. And then there's times where I was like, that could have been better. Yeah. I could have done that better. I could have surrounded myself with better energy. I could have surrounded myself with, you know, ideas that were a little more similar to my own if I was trying to achieve something. Not just the participants of the band I'm talking about either, just everything, the team, the environment that I was in at the time personally. So yeah, luckily we had a lot of experience with and Eric's still in another band too, so he's like doubling up on the experience.
Okay.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, I think to what Jason's saying, I mean, I still play in a band called Night Versus, but a lot of it falls on what you can do yourself to improve the situation, because in the end, you can't really control what other people are doing. But if you surround yourself with people that like Jason's saying, have a similar mindset to you, and kind of just have a logical perspective on what's in front of you. I mean, like we've said in every interview, we're really grateful to be where we're at, and sometimes a lot of stuff gets in the way of tour, whether it's being away from family or going through crazy travel situations or injuries or whatever. And having people...
Hello. Welcome.
Having people that maintain that perspective through all of that makes it a lot easier, and keeps you doing your job the way that you need to, and putting the right things first above, like, you know, your personal needs at the moment, and just trying to help people as much as possible.
Do you always work as a trio? Or who's the mastermind, you know, writing songs, and how do you usually work?
I mean, now there's five of us really that do all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So that includes like the three you see here, and Travis and John. You know, as far as like how we do it, we just try to participate as best we can and give the sort of the best efforts that each one of us can offer is usually what you'll hear and see. whether it be on stage or on these albums and the records. You know, it's really a collective effort, man. It's not just like one person at all.
Yeah, there's no like one guy that writes the most.
Yeah.
When we're lucky in that both John and Travis have given us space to record if something comes up, you know, on the fly, if something happens and we feel like we need to write a song about it, or if something comes up on tour, we don't want to wait for all 5 of us to get together to have to initiate that idea. In the end, once it's put out there, we all kind of give our take on it and see where we can take it. So I feel like whenever anything inspires us, we do our best to get it out as fast as we can, and then see what the other people involved think of it and where they would take it.
It is said that rock and politics should not go hand in hand, and even artists that usually take a position not always admit it openly. Your activism and political conscience is very strong. What is the risk of a position like yours, and did you ever have any problems for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the risk is that the idea of picking a side can often seem unattractive to people because it doesn't pay, first and foremost. You know, music already is a gamble. You know, you might not ever make it, and then if you, whatever your gauge of making it is, and then a sustainable lifestyle is even further away from a possibility when it comes to career musicianship. So then add on top of that, you know, it's taking a position or expressing an agenda politically. You know, you're just kind of stacking the odds against yourself. But at the same time, for us, it's just being honest. And I think over anything else, being honest is the best thing you can do as a musician, as an artist, full stop. You know, so just talking about what we believe in, and luckily what we believe in is very open for discussion. We're not here to tell anyone what they should believe in. We're just here to express what we believe in hopes to encourage other people to do the same on their own terms.
Okay.
But yeah, I always say it, man, like, revolution doesn't pay. It's, you know, there's no person waiting behind the picket line with a check. You know, if anyone's waiting for you, it's usually your opposition or adversary. A lot of these people that have made the massive changes are no longer with us for various reasons, or we don't recognize how important their contribution was until they're gone. So I think that knowing that, and that being such a like frequently occurring instance in a movements or revolution, and total sidebar, all right guys, same thing actually. We're not the we're not the revolution. We are not. The revolution is within the people, and there's a movement that's been happening. We're just a product of that thing. But I think it's artists don't do it because they fear that they might even further alienate themselves from success, and we're not worried about that.
Did you ever bother anyone in particular, maybe for your strong position? And if it ever happens, would you leave it as a conquest or as an obstacle?
Yeah, we performed, and it was made very clear, like literally before we even hit our first note of music, that there were some gentlemen in a crowd in the deep south that subscribed to, you know, very racist and fascistic elements.
Yeah.
And they made it very clear with their gestures and what they were saying and their, you know, their signals, and that to us was a win for us to be able to speak our minds and talk our shit in that environment. You could talk all day to people that believe in the same thing that you do,
right?
And be safe.
Yeah.
But if you're only talking about it within, you know, walls where no one else can hear you, or a place where it'll never actually leave the table that you're at with these people, it's just an echo chamber, and we just don't really know how much that's worth anymore. Especially with our current administration, we as more liberal leaning people thought to ourselves, even I said it in the beginning, I did say this, there's just no way that Donald Trump could win. And this is just speaking on, other than like Ronald Reagan, you know, usually have to have some sort of history in politics to be a president. Some sort of history, knowledge, education, politics, typically, unless, like I said, Ronald Reagan in the 80s. So I thought, nah, that won't happen again. It just won't. It just can't. And because of that, you know, we and many of the same sort of ideas and attitudes, we didn't think about the rest of the country. We just thought about people that thought like ourselves.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the country came out and voted because they wanted something different, because they felt disaffected by our last administration, which I can understand in some ways. I can understand why they felt disaffected. And you always have to place the blame on somebody. And our former administration caught the brunt of it. So because of that, we're now sitting in an administration that we don't believe in or subscribe to in almost every way. And that's because we said it can't happen, and then we weren't active enough. Yeah. You know, that's on us. Yeah. We were not active enough in making sure it didn't happen. Yeah.
Since your lyrics and sound are very direct, is it easier to conquer immediately a crowd that maybe doesn't know you or ever listened to your music before, maybe at a festival situation, or instead you find skepticism in those, you know, who never heard about the band before? Can it be a limit in a sense?
It's the performance is what usually attracts them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we're lucky to have that. But yeah, of course, yeah, there's been plenty of times where people have been like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you, we don't believe in that. And that's fine. You know, fuck you is a little harsh, but we'll take it. It's happened, you know, and we're not naive. Like, we're not living utopia, like this sort of idealist life on stage. Like, we know that what we say is confronting, and it is not appealing to everybody, and it's leaning, and it may seem agenda-based, which it is not, though. We're not here to assimilate or to impart our agenda on anyone. That's not what we're here to do. We're just here to encourage a sense of expression and freedom. And but yeah, we've definitely heard that. But even those people, if they stay long enough to actually listen to what we're saying and how we're trying to express that, they usually can at least walk away with it going, okay, maybe they didn't deserve the fuck you in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know?
And do you think that young people and adults perceive your music differently? Did you ever feel that?
Yeah.
Very differently?
Well, you mean the music?
The music and also the message, you know.
Message, yes.
Okay.
Music.
I'll say I was very surprised when we did our U.S. headliner, how many families were in the crowd.
Okay.
Like full-on mom, dad, and kids were in the crowd, because I feel like us, maybe, like in aggressive music, just sending your kids off to any old hardcore show or metal show, you don't really know what's going on. You don't really know what's being said. But if any parent is taking time to kind of listen to what we're talking about, we're not. There's no hate whatsoever. There's no. There's the only negativity are the things that we're speaking out against, real life stuff. So I think what happens is there's all sorts of different ages at all of our shows, because all sorts of people feel the same way we do. You know, I think maybe some, like, I don't know, some bands, like in your 40s, you don't necessarily feel the same kind of angst you did when you were like, yeah, I don't know, your girlfriend broke up with you at 17.
Right.
It just doesn't feel the same. But for us, it's like, you know, we're talking about things that affect everyone.
Yeah.
And so I think as far as the message is concerned, all sorts of different, I'm talking across the board, different ages come out and I think can appreciate it. The music, and I think I've definitely spoken to adults who don't love the music, but they're there to support because they like the message and their kid likes it.
Yeah. You know what? That's right. I'd like to redact my last statement and say what Steven said. I think that he's right. I think it's more so the messaging that gets to the youth and the parents, and the music. But here's the thing. Even the music, you've got like older, like you know, some people in their 40s, 50s being like, I saw Rage, or I was there when Korn played that first. You know what I mean? Like, or even like people being like, I saw Jimmy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, so it's cool. I think it's more so an essence. Again, I think it's just an essence that we loved growing up. We might not have been there, You know,
Yeah.
like I never got to see Rage Against the Machine as a kid. I never got to see Jimi Hendrix. I never got to see Bob Dylan or Bob Marley. But I adored the way I felt when I listened or even saw or heard people talk about those acts or artists. So I think it's an essence. Yeah.
So you mentioned Rage Against the Machine, but also Bad Brains or Public Enemy, Body Count, all those bands has been an inspiration for you guys.
Yeah.
Was, you know, your position, did it start even before? Is it something that comes by DNA and then maybe the spark can be the music influence, or you know, it's a combination of both, or what happened to you?
For me personally, I think it was in my DNA, whether that be like actually quite literally or, you know, metaphorically speaking. For me, my mom's white, my dad's black, so I just came into the world like misidentified, like didn't know what the fuck I was supposed to be doing or looking like or saying or feeling like my whole life. So that immediately there's a sense of being of outcastism, you know, immediately.
Yeah.
So for me, I was always with the underdogs. My best friends were like misfits. You know, we were just kids that like were not your typical elementary, middle school, high school kid. We enjoyed things that were a bit more aberrant or, you know, like subversive music. And I guess like my mom was telling me this. My mom told me that like my grandparents on my dad's side were always, you know, protesting, and they were fighting for indigenous rights, and my dad was a musician. I don't really personally, I don't know anything else other than like trying to just express the way you feel, you know, on that level. But I think it could be different in many ways. You know, I think people can be sparked at any point. We had a guy who straight up, and bless this man, came to me and was like, I was a racist, I was a skinhead. Not like a punk skin, he was like a skinhead, like racist. And he was like, I was just lost. And this is what I found. These are the first people that offered me any sort of solace or comfort. I identified with it because they looked like me. And then he was at our show talking about how bands like us or Bad Brains or Bad Religion, you know, things made him change his mind. So I don't want to believe that it is just in the DNA. That's what I'm trying to say. I think anyone and anything can change. I really believe that. I really do.
Is music your definitive, you know, art expression, or do you have more? I mean,
You draw like crazy.
any other vehicle, you know,
Yeah.
to express your anger also, or you know, your thoughts.
He's the dopest artist, and he's the illest, like the fashion, styly, like swaggiest guy you'll ever meet. Both these guys are artists completely outside of their musicianship as well. But you talk about that. I just wanted to say it in case you were too humble to say it.
I feel like I've been lazy for my thing. To be honest, I feel like I love music, and I'll probably always do music in some way. But as far as like expressing myself, I like rap a lot. But I've been lazy lately. It's been like trying to just be comfortable.
I feel that.
Especially on this tour.
That's swaggy though.
It is.
I think for saying something, I prefer music. I like doing visual art, either to enhance like the music, like something to add to it to give another perspective, or just because I don't feel any responsibility. I feel like I've been making music for so long that whatever I put out has to be a certain level of, or a certain quality, or just the time that I put in, I feel like I should have it down to a certain degree. And with visual art, I just like to do it, and I don't really care if it comes out good or not. It's just a new thing to learn and get better at. So I think in the end, music is still definitely the thing that I turn to most if I need to say something in an artistic way.
Black and white is your visual language. Why this choice, and why the vinyl is pink? Since you like black and white so much.
Well, the black and white idea, the concept was initiated because I thought to myself, a lot of the ideas and ideals that we discuss and messaging that we discuss are from a time before ours.
Okay.
You know, because we come from a generation that seems to be, well, people believe that we're a generation that's very focused on things outside of current events, like our phone, or you know what we may look like tomorrow, or you know the next thing that is up, you know, socially, but not necessarily as conscious. And I think that it's sort of it speaks to the idea that these ideas, although they may be old, we are involved in them. You know, that was sort of the whole idea of the black and white. And then introducing pink in our color palette with like the album.
Yeah. Strenght In Numb333rs just came out on pink vinyl. That's why I was making the question.
Yeah, so that's sort of like, for us, it's like we feel we've begun to initiate the bigger idea for us as a project, and opening people's eyes to, it's gonna sound like so lame, but you know, just different colors and different ways to see things outside of just the black and white dichotomy that you either have to be this or that and that's it, because things are not just black and white, you know. So
but why you picked pink?
Pink? Oh, just, I don't know, it just looks sick.
Okay,
it just looks sick, yeah. It just looks good. Yeah, and also such like seemingly aggressive music, or you know, the idea of like three men choosing pink is somewhat, you know, is not expected, I suppose. And we want to show people that, you know, the idea of masculinity, as well as open-mindedness with situations such as, you know, trans issues, queer issues, gay, lesbian. We want to make sure that we don't ever assign ourselves to one subscription of what it means to be three men on stage. You know, that's just not what we believe in. We don't believe in being tough and following the lines that have been drawn for us, you know. And pink looks sick. Yeah.
Okay. So 3 is the perfect number, is the lucky number for some, evil for others. It represents also Trinity, and you are a trio, even if there's, as you said, there's somebody else working with you. But I know that from your point of view, there's more behind this choice of the threes. In the band name and also in the debut album title. Do you want to explain that a bit and tell me more about it?
Yeah, so C is the third letter of the English alphabet, and so the three threes in our name actually represent the 3 C's, and those are our community, charity, and change. It's the foundation upon which this project lies, and it really just informs everything that we do, the way we do it, why we do it, when we do it. And it's really, it was sort of our way of immediately introducing an idea of something more than just music in our name. So you just look at our name. Change must start locally. No matter how global you want it to be, you have to start locally as yourself, even if it's just thinking differently or accepting new knowledge. So that's kind of, you know, the bare bones of it. Brass tacks would just be, we have a charity contingent piece that runs perpetually, consistently throughout this project.
What does the Grammy nomination as Best Rock Performance with Made in America mean to you? Is that in a sense part of a system that you fight against, or
the Grammys?
Yeah.
Yes, and that's why we went. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they don't. The last time, when was the last time there was like a black person nominated for
Best Rock
Performance?
It's been a while. I think it was kind of recently with the sister from Alabama Shakes.
Oh, right.
But before that, it'd been a minute, and before that, it'd been a minute.
Yeah.
So it's like across the past, I think like 20-something years that category's been existing. There's only been like a few nominees and like 2 winners or something like that have been people of color, and one that was a woman.
Right.
So what it means to us is, personally, like, we're not, you know, bummed or stoked about winning or losing. It's more about the Grammys recognizing people of color in a genre that they should have been recognizing for a long time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's insane thinking about the origins of rock and roll and not having people of color ever or rarely ever represented is kind of wild. So,
or even mentioned.
Or mentioned.
Just like mentioned.
Not like, it's great. And women, it's like, what do you like, I love the fact that Alabama Shakes, I think it won. I think it won. The fact that she won is insane. And I don't watch the Grammys enough to know how much of a ripple that made in music, but it should have made a big one.
Yeah.
Because that's wild. But yeah, I think to us it's like, okay, cool. Grammy committee, hopefully you continue with that kind of thinking, because there's more and more bands, performers, people of color in rock music that are everywhere. They're coming everywhere, and I think that people need to. I think they need to really open their eyes to that.
Yeah, we can't be out here like yelling, hooting, and hollering about representation, and then not represent when we get an opportunity to do it. You know, so like we came through, the three of us, to talk our shit. You know, when we did those interviews, when we were in the presence of, you know, the Grammy Academy or whatever, Recording Academy, we were just there to offer representation and messaging. We weren't there really to take that shit home. I guess it would be cool to like put it on the mantle, but again, it's not about the award. It never will be about that shit for us, ever.
Okay.
It's just about being recognized, and what we talk about too. That's not common to be. We're gonna make that the best rock performance.
Right, totally.
They just don't do that.
Yeah, it's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
If you were granted a true answer to any question in the universe, what would you ask?
Damn. Shit, you are deep, huh? You guys are deep. True question to any answer in the universe. Are we meant to be here? Like, are we supposed to be on Earth? You know what I'm saying? We're out here like fucking it up and with no regard, kicking the can down the road. I'm curious, like, what is this? And not in like a, you know, beyond, like, I want like a direct answer, not just like spiritually, but like, what are we doing here? What the fuck are we doing? How do we change it?
If you had to explain why. Okay, that's something.
Oh, actually, yeah, aliens.
Area 51.
Yeah, what's up?
That's cracking in
Yeah.
there. I gotta know what's going on.
For real.
I just want to know if Kobe would have got that ring if Chris Paul was allowed to be traded to the Lakers.
Yes.
Yes, I know that one.
Okay.
If you have to explain that what you do is not negative, but is, you know, tend to be positive, but maybe in the impact is not that. How would you explain that?
So like what? Like playing like aggressive music.
Yeah, it's not a menace, but it's like a promise, you know, to tell people what should be good and what should change.
I just think you just gotta keep it 100. You just gotta be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. You just be honest, no matter what the fuck you're doing, and understand it. We are responsible for every action we take. You know what I'm saying? Anything we do on that stage, anything we say to you, anything we say to these people out here, anything we say to ourselves, we are responsible for. We are aware of that. We're culpable for everything we do. So we never worry about coming off negative, because that would then be disingenuous, because then we would have to tailor what we do and how we do it, when all we want to try to do is be honest. So I don't know, but I guess there's always room for improvement. You know, but I just think you just gotta really be honest and open to criticism, you know.
What's immediately next for you guys after this tour?
After this tour, some festivals. We're going on tour with Alice in Chains and Korn and Under Oath. We're gonna write some more music. We got a bunch of features coming out with other artists.
Okay.
Just that's immediately, and then more tour. We're trying to come back to Europe.
Okay.
It's before the end of the year. So.
How do you imagine yourself in 10 years, and which is your dream, your goal at the moment?
My goal?
Yeah.
My goal is to be playing whenever we want, wherever we want, however we want. I want my kid to be chilling. I'd like to have another kid. And I'd like to be employing my friends.
Totally.
I'd like to be employing my friends and family and people from my community on this team, and then maybe some other endeavors as well. But I would love to bring more family into this thing in 10 years. That'd be sick. That's me. What do y'all think?
I mean, that sounds good.
Probably like a physical walking my shoes foundation
Yeah.
facility.
Yeah.
Like its own standalone building that we can put on, whether like a show or some kind of like anything we want to do. It'd be cool to have like an actual building for it to hold all these ideas that we all have. So that could be cool. Yeah, hopefully that's before 10 years.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Okay. Thanks guys for your time.
Thank you.
Enjoy the show tonight, and we will for sure.
Hell yeah.
See you next time. Ciao.
Ciao.